the Instagram one as well in a second. Thank you so much for coming on today, Soph. I'm so excited for this chat.
Always my favorite conversations.
As friends and personal life and business and Haruka and healing and all the things. So we were just talking offline about this conversation and where it's going to go, and we landed on the topic, which you will all be seeing right now, of holding it all. I'm going to let you explain, what this subject means and how that relates to the work that you're doing in the clinic, the work that you're doing with Aruka, and what holding it all actually means.
Yeah, I love this topic. I love this title. Holding it all really comes down to our capacity and our nervous system, which I think is such a buzzword, like in the industry, in the space. And it really means being able to hold, receive, attract, whatever word you want to experience. I think is just like the most normal word. Experience the life that you want to live, the relationship that you want to have, the success that you want to create, the financial freedom that you want to have, the relationships, not only romantic, with your friends, with your family, with your kids, being the version of yourself that you want to be. But also, do you know what holding it all means? Holding the really fucking hard shit, the stressful shit, and the pleasure. Because, do you know, as women, what we do, we're like, oh, it's a little bit too good. Let's just like make it a bit shit, And it's like holding it all is having the capacity to really be in the life that you want to experience. To me, what do you think holding it all means?
Yes, from a client like receiving perspective, absolutely. Like it's about being able to hold more good, because we're used to holding the bad, especially a lot of the people that follow here are people with complex trauma. They've got similar histories to mine, or, they've got a level of trauma that they can hold it all together in a way that they're good at coping, but they're not very good at, like you said, receiving, thriving, myself included. The hardest thing is to not sabotage myself when I'm happy, is to not be like, oh, this is a bit too good.
Yeah.
Let's suffer again. But I think from a practitioner perspective as well, what's really cool is that you have, as we were talking about offline, you've got the capacity, and I've seen you do this with women, to take someone coming in at a complex trauma level who is nightmares and flashbacks and levels of psychosis and PTSD and, all of these really intense things, who are in survival mode, just really, really struggling to survive. And then you're taking them out of that, but then you're not stopping there. You're able to hold it all because you can take them through that really difficult stuff and then into the next layers, which is money stuff, relationship stuff, sex stuff, pleasure stuff, holding the good, all those layers that come afterwards. You hold that whole journey. They're not having to go to someone else. You've got all the steps there, and you've got the skills to take them through all those levels.
Yeah, and like when you're just saying that, it makes me feel so alive in my body, because that's my favorite journey to go on with a woman. Like for me, I love the journey, I love a lot of my clients are with me for a really long time, and then sometimes it's like we do some work and then there's some space, but it's like, how good do you want it to be? And I think we sometimes like think we do the deeper healing, but that actual next phase, what we're speaking about, like the integration of being able to receive the life that you want to have, honestly, is actually, like, my client was literally saying this to me, Soph, processing that trauma is nothing compared to this. Trying to, like, you know,
Oh yeah.
feel good. This is nothing. Like, just like, and it's, yeah, like, I think actually being able to feel good in our life, there's so many pieces that come with that, because we've been so conditioned to struggle, to hard, to survival. And so training your body and your identity and yourself to be like, oh shit, I get to just feel good now. And there's often a lot of shame that comes with that. What about the other people that are feeling shit and are having a bad time and the world's in crisis? What do you mean I can just be over here, like, living a nice life,
Yes. And don't you think, like, and this has been my personal journey too, like this part of when you've done a lot of work, you get used to doing the work, right? And then you in an unconscious way, we've talked about this, are actually strengthening the pathways that are constantly looking for something
Absolutely.
to focus on, and you get this negative bias, and you get this kind of like drama bias of like looking for something, stressing about something. And it's not that we're intentionally doing that, but that is one of the most difficult stages to break through. Like, I agree. Going into the memories now feels like a piece of cake compared to trying to get happy and stay happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you know what? It takes a really good practitioner. Actually had to say to my client, babe, we're done. There's there's no more. Like, it, live life, and it takes a good practitioner to be able to like really say that to your client as well, and to know when they're ready, and also within yourself. Like, I felt a bit, I remember I used to feel a bit gaslit when I was still in my journey with some stuff on social media that I would say that would kind of make me feel shame for not being there yet, but within myself I knew I wasn't, like, I still wasn't feeling right, but I hadn't like I hadn't got it quite right. So there is a discernment and a knowing that comes within yourself, because you do know, I think,
Mm,
and having a good practitioner that's like, to be honest, like, that's where Aruka just like changes the game with that, because it does enable you to become the person that can hold it all, that can hold the life, that can receive the good, that can have a greater capacity to handle stress, because life isn't all sunshine and roses. And whilst as women that have had these really complex backgrounds, we're used to managing and holding and surviving, it's very different when you heal and evolve and you meet things that used to feel stressful from a different place within yourself.
mm,
I've women that say to me, "My God, Soph, like, the stuff that I used to get stressed about and that would overwhelm me, it just like," I'm like, whatever. And that's the change. It's like we shift internally, and things that used to feel stressful, well, our capacity expands and those things don't even register. But then when hard seasons come, the way we meet that, like, I had a client, her whole house set on fire. She's got a little baby. They were in the house
my
and they
God.
had to move out. It was really lucky. Everyone was fine, but they had to move out for months. And she would email me, "So because of the work we've done through Aruka, like, the way that I have met this situation is
Wholly different.
unfathomable." Yeah, and it's like that's why actually one of the deepest reasons I say this over and over again, like, why I do this work with women, I want you to become resilient as fuck. Like, I want you
Mm,
to be so strong within yourself that whatever life brings, like, you're like, "Yeah, I've got this and I can hold this. And also, I'm fully here to experience the goodness of life." Like, those two things internally is like what makes you feel just like a bit like Superwoman, you know?
yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that resilience is key, because people often pick up online and say to me, "Oh, you shouldn't say that you're healed. Shouldn't say that you're healed." And yes, it can be a problematic term, blah, blah, blah. But to me, the version of healed is that you know that you got this. You know
Yeah,
that if there's another layer to be seen, you can handle it because you've always handled it before. But also, there's like a trust in and knowing that each layer that comes up is going to take you to an even better version of yourself. That to me is the epitome of healed. Like, you've got the capacity to take on whatever comes your way. You've got the tools, you've got the resilience, you've got the smarts. And I think that's where most women, people, unfortunately, are lacking. They don't have the
yeah,
self trust to know
yeah,
where to go or what to do in the first
yeah,
place, or the tools to manage a difficult time.
yeah. And I think a lot of people have been burnt as well through, I know that
Mm.
I felt this within myself, and I feel it when women say to me, which they say also, is, "I've been doing everything, been
Mm,
on this journey for a long time." And it's like, where do I go now? And the exhaustion that comes with trying to find the answers, because that's the thing. Like, these women are resourceful. They're like trying to figure it out. And there's so much conflicting information out there. And it's like, what do I believe? Like, what do I try next? And that really is the differentiator with Aruka. It's like, when you're on that healing, when you're trying to work through stuff, this is the work that we need to be doing. It
mm,
really is as simple as that. I'm like, yeah, different strokes for different folks, things work for different people, but I'm like,
No, this works for
this
everyone.
works. I'm
Because
just
it's
like,
multifaceted, because it's not a singular approach that only works. It's not, there's a reason why somatics or subconscious or things like that don't work for everyone. It's because they're not working across those four pillars. And
absolutely.
the biggest feedback, like I can't even tell you how many people honestly are in my inbox at the moment saying, I've tried da 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 da. I have complex trauma, I have DID, I have da, da, all these awful diagnoses, so much struggle, and Aruka is the only thing that's worked for me. And it's because of this. It is the only thing that's working, and it's so difficult for people to believe that when they have been burnt, like you said, and they've tried all those things and they've lost hope. And it's so hard to explain to someone that it is
Yeah.
different, isn't it?
And we had an email from a client that had a really like been on the journey for a long time, and she was really burnt from that past of trying all these things. And, even starting this journey was really struggling to trust the process because it's like, we
Mm,
did one session, it was kind of like, I'm not feeling any changes. There were changes, but it was like, okay, there's still a lot here. We need to do a little bit more. And then after the third session, she was like, whoa, I don't even know what's changed. All I can tell you is that I feel entirely different in my life. And I actually, for the first time, this woman's in her 50s. I want to start living for the first time.
mm.
And that's the response over and over and over again.
It's honestly the more that we do. Oh, you're back. The
I'm
more that
back.
we do these lives, I've actually found more and more people are going, okay, I'm going to give it a try, and then a week later, they're in my DMs like, I listened to that thing that you said, and so I thought I'd give
Yeah.
it a try, and now I understand because
Yeah.
it really is. And I can explain why that's happening and why they're having such profound shifts with Aruka versus other things, but I would prefer it if you explained it.
Absolutely. And
When
do you know
watching.
what? I think it is actually simple because I
It's
think
simple.
it's so simple because there's so many things out there. It's like this, and it's like, well, if we've had an experience, any trigger, any challenge, anything that we're experiencing in our present reality, nine nine times out of 10, say when we're in this phase, is connected to something that we've experienced in the past. We're responding from an unprocessed past experience, an open emotional loop that's, something in our brain and something in our body. So when we go into Aruka, we can meet that challenge, whether it's a flashback, a feeling, a memory, even just a situation, a trigger that we're experiencing in life. We can go into the subconscious and we can connect into what is actually at the root of that, the
Mm,
root of that experience that is causing all this challenge that we're experiencing in our life. Because that present day challenge is not based in most cases, okay, of something that's happening in the here and now. We're experiencing it in the here and now, but it's based on something that's happened in the past.
mm,
So when we go into Aruka and we go into a theta brainwave state, we're actually able to access the part of the brain that is the subconscious mind that is holding and storing all these experiences, that when our nervous system, because 80% of what our brain receives is coming from our body's unconscious scanning of our environment through our senses. And so if we're primed on this really primal level of
mm,
threat, that information that's going to the brain is going to be incorrect. Your brain is simply trying to pattern match and to find a reason. Why is my body sending up this information that there's danger in the environment?
mm,
So when we come into a subconscious process, we can access that part of the brain where these memories are stored, and we can work with the nervous system and the body that's feeling things are unsafe. And
mm.
we simply get to the root of what these experiences are. And this is the thing that people will say, oh my God, how is this connected to that? And even as a practitioner, you're always like, well, I didn't think we were going there today, but here we are, and it's like, it's like,
Yes, every time. Sometimes
like
you're
the
like, "I know exactly where we're going," and sometimes you're like, "Whoa, okay."
yeah, like the amount of times I cannot tell you, I end up, I'm the amount of times I'm like, oh, we're at birth. We've gone
Yeah.
back to somebody's birth moment. That was like literally the other day.
Mm,
This woman didn't feel safe. Oh, we're back at birth. And it's like, how the hell am I even able to get here? But it's like, and you teach on this all the time, like these experiences, things that are happening aren't always even conscious, like they're imprinted, non-verbal, just feelings that we have in our body that are making us feel certain ways in our life.
mm,
So to simplify it, when we work in a subconscious, we're able to access the part of the brain that is storing these experiences. We're able to meet them in the way that we simply cannot in a conscious state. We can't bring those experiences forward, or we can't
Mm.
access them fully. We might get flashbacks, we might have dreams, we might have like knowings. But when we go in through Aruka, we're in that theta brainwave state, which enables us to access that part of the brain. We're able to connect into the body. And if there's trapped emotion, because the brain's not in that protection response, those stored experiences that are unprocessed are able to be released. You know,
Mm.
say this all the time. If an animal is being chased in the wild, it shakes, it releases that trapped
Mm.
emotion. As humans, we brace because in moments of high emotional situations, the body goes into a shutdown. And so that gets trapped within the body. And
Mm.
that's why somebody might do breath work and it's like, oh, there's an emotional release. Now I've got all these memories and actually I'm feeling even more dysregulated. Aruka
Mm.
enables us to combine all of these things. Then there's a load of beliefs that we attach to these experiences, and then we're gaining evidence as we're going through our life because our reticular activating system is primed for what we believe, and we're just noticing more and more and more, building more and more and more evidence.
Mm.
So when we use Aruka, we find those beliefs, we release them, we bring in new stories, and we're also just working with the energy body, which that just is. You just
Everything. All of the above.
everything.
All of the
It
above.
just is. What
Yeah.
would you say to, I feel like I went on so many side
No,
quests
I
in
love
that.
that. I love that. I think what really stood out is, like, you explained it perfectly. I think what really stood out to me and what I've been thinking about a lot lately is a lot of the time in nature, and when we read, books like Peter Levine, things like that, and we learn
Mm,
about somatics, a lot of the time their response is the fight or flight response, and they're able to activate and they're able to mobilize. I find that a lot of people with complex trauma, their predominant response is a freeze response because their trauma is relational trauma, and there's actually no way for them to escape the constant threat because the threat is a caregiver, and it's so much more complex for the mind to understand that paradox. Because if you're a zebra and you're being chased by a lion, you know that the lion is the predator. If you're a human being and you're a child and your parent is the predator, that goes against nature. That goes against
yeah.
nature and nurture. And I think that that's where complex trauma becomes so complex at a mental understanding identity level, which is where we can work, but also at the freeze response level, because I think there's you can continue to find yourself in situations,
Oh,
sometimes not even significantly traumatizing situations, but living in a freeze response and stuck in a freeze response, and then moving from that into a forget or a fawn, a subtype of the freeze
yeah.
response. I think I'd really love to talk about that freeze
Yeah.
response and about how it's actually easier to complete a fight or a flight response because you're mobilizing in your
Yeah.
expressing the energy. In freeze, it's all stuck and you're frozen. I'd love
Oh,
to hear about some experiences of you working with women who've come through the clinic, or women who you're working with this complex trauma, with this intense freeze response.
yeah. And do you know what? I just relate to this. I just love the way that you explain things and see things, Jess. It's always so precise and just on point. Um, yeah, because I also feel this so deeply in my body, and I feel the memory of being stuck in that place too, because it's so frustrating. And I think as well for a lot of high functioning women, there's this swinging between, but you're always coming down to that shutdown and that inability to express, and being in situations where you just, I remember, and this is women in the clinic, it's like relationally, right, in a relationship, something's not feeling good with your partner and you just go offline, and there's an uncomfortable situation and you can't use your words, you can't express yourself, you can't, and inside it's even like you can't even internalize and feel what's happening in your body. you
Mm.
know you go through these periods of like being really really active, and then you're just
Shut
burnt out to
down.
the point where you're in bed, and it's this constant cycle. And
Mhm.
we have, and the saddest thing about that, we can't experience life, we can't experience joy, we can't, not properly, we can't really be in our life because we're not able to feel.
It's numb. Yeah, it's a
It's
numb
numb.
state. Yeah.
And that's where like the scrolling, the binge eating, it's like trying to activate like things that bring us back into our body, or to feel something, or to numb something. We're always trying to find these ways to numb, because if I feel, well, I don't know what's going to be there. And it's like,
Mm.
when we start to come back into the body, like, numbness is actually a sensation. That's something that I take women into, and there's
Mm.
always
A
so
lot.
much magic under that, you
Yeah.
know? And a woman said
Information.
to me, yeah, a woman
Mm.
said to me, so I've been out of my body for so long, like, no one has ever got me there. And this is written as a testimonial, and you got me there,
Mm.
and that's not because I'm special. That's the modality, right? Like, any one of our practitioners would have been able, I say our practitioners, the practitioners
Ours.
would
This
have been ours.
It's ours.
um,
I mean,
you
you're
know,
very much intertwined. For anyone that doesn't know, like, you also are quite involved in helping me with assessing some of the students and things like that. So
yeah.
it feels like us. Um,
Yeah, I just feel so so it's like, it's a really it's a really I think for women as well, when things get too much, when we can't hold any more stress, that's the dominant response that we're going to go into. We're going to go into a freeze. We're going to go into a fawn. And I think this ties perfectly just to the holding it all, because it connects to our
mm,
capacity. And we develop these really, really small windows of tolerance, not to use the language, but our ability to manage stress becomes very, very small. So
mm,
it's like, when that builds over time, because that's a thing that a lot of people don't realize, and women feel quite upset by. It's like, I used to be able to handle so much more, and now I'm just shutting down. Like, my anxieties, and then I'm like in bed, and I've
mm.
had these breakdowns, and I don't understand, because I used to be able to cope, and it's like,
Wear
because,
down. Yeah, I've worn down over
yeah,
years. Mm. And I think what's really cool as well is, I was thinking when we were talking about, like, taking people back into their bodies and moving them out of that freeze as well, is that I think this is what is so powerful for people who have that predominant freeze response, is that, I don't know if you've found this, but I've definitely found that in sessions with clients who have a predominant, like a really dominant freeze response from a lot of childhood trauma where they couldn't escape, they actually go through the same response when you put them into the subconscious and go back into the memory. So, and that's normal, because it's normal for our body to go back through the same motions when we're visualizing. This is why having flashbacks constantly is actually doing you damage, because you're re-experiencing it through your body. But we take them back and they freeze. And I find a lot of clients, I'm like, okay, this is you're in control now. You get to speak, you get to move. And I think I've even done this before. And your body doesn't want to move. And there's this
yeah,
person there, and we're encouraging you to say something. And even though you're in your subconscious and you know that they're not really there, it feels like they are. And this is where we actually get to be that person that's like, just say one word. Just say this.
yeah,
Just do this. Oh, well, we can use the shrinking technique where we shrink them down and make them small so the person can say what they need to say. We've got all of these beautiful techniques that we can do
yeah.
while in the subconscious, incorporating their body and movement to get them out of the freeze response, but to take back their power to move them through it, versus them remembering it freezing and leaving the session frozen.
And that's the thing, like, even if you can, I've worked with some really extreme cases of this, really,
Mm,
really extreme. And it's just about going really slow, and, okay, be here. And I think, as a practitioner, it's not being afraid about that. When we're in those moments, it's like, this is a totally normal response that this person is having for them.
mm,
And it's kind of like just being able to slow it down and being like, okay, yeah, you don't feel like you can use your voice. Your body feels stuck right now. Can you just start to breathe, and even starting to expand the breath more? Can you
mm,
squeeze your hands for me? Can you push your feet into the floor? Like, where's the tiniest bit of movement of space in your body? I want you to connect into that space in your body now.
yes.
And I want you to start to expand that out.
Mm, yeah.
And then I want you to see if you can open your arms to me. And they might be like this. And I want you to see if you can open them a little bit further, and a
Mm,
little bit further. Okay, and now I want you to open them all the way out. And I want you to just hold that position. Okay, and now I want you to stand up. And I want
mm,
you to see if you can move your feet. And now
yeah.
I want you to see if you can move your, and it's like,
Then the
You know,
words come, and then
the
they
words
have
come, then I want
them.
you to say, yeah, and I'm like, now I want you to just say no. I want you to say stop.
Yes,
You know,
simple
and
words.
it's like it comes, and it's like, now I want you to get a bit louder.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yes. Yes.
and it's like
Magic. It's magic.
we've
It's so simple. Like we were saying before, it's so simple, but it's also complicated because it's there is a process of getting them to that stage. There's a process of making sure that they're in their subconscious before you even go there, that they're in their body,
absolutely,
that they're accessing, that you're connected energetically, that you know where to go, that you know exactly how to get them there. And this is the thing, we've got all the tools to pivot. And I think that I use the word pivot all the time, but it's so relevant because if you only have this much tools and someone just gets stuck in a freeze state, you go, let's
yeah,
just come back out. It's okay. It's all good. No, 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 no. You're making it worse. You're making it
yeah,
worse by freaking out and coming out and leaving them in the freeze state. You actually do have to
absolutely,
find that blend of pushing them in a gentle and loving way to, like you said, make a small movement, make a small sound, say one word, no,
yeah.
stop, whatever it is, and just start with those small increments, and then it opens them up and they go, I can do this. And it really is, it's magic watching someone do that, isn't it? Come out of that freeze.
It's really magic, especially the really intense situations, and it's like that you can't even understand like what like just being able to do that, what a profound shift and experience that is for your body and your psyche. And that's one moment, right? But it's like in that moment I took my power back. In that moment I left the situation. In that moment, it's like that does something on such a deep level
Mm.
across, that ripples out in so many different ways.
And I think the power of it as well is that we're doing that within the subconscious. So it's being processed quite visually. It's being processed
Yeah,
at a deep subconscious level. But as well as that, when they're speaking up and when they're, when they're releasing and they're talking about what's happening and what they're seeing and what they're feeling, we're picking up the identity level subconscious beliefs as well that are paired with that memory. And we're not just processing the memory visually and verbally and, with the spoken word and somatically and energetically. We're also writing that down to release all of those levels of identity energetically, somatically, verbally at the end as well. So we're using that, I guess, process at both stages and making
yeah,
sure that both stages are complete instead of just processing the memory and being like, cool, you took your power back. It's like, no, you can take your power back in that memory and still believe that you're powerless if you have that
yeah,
narrative in your mind. So
yeah.
we're pairing that together. And I just don't think people in the world have understood yet how fucking powerful that combination is.
But it makes me mad because it's actually so simple. Like when
It
you
is.
like when there's four bodies. We have an emotional body, a mental body, a physical body, an energetic body. We
Mm,
have beliefs, we have stored emotions, we have memory. Like all of those things are important, and all of those things matter. And of course, to create a holistic shift, we need to
mm.
create a holistic healing experience.
Yeah. But it's like, it's simple, but it's not. I think like it took me 15 years to figure it out, I guess. And not 15 years because I've been teaching it for a while, but it took me good 10 years at least to figure out those pieces and how to blend it together and pull it together in a way that
But
but
that's your
once you understand it,
superpower.
you can't
No, and that's the
unsee
thing. But
like
it's like I was looking for like as a practitioner. I think when you're like, I was like, I'm here trying to like work with somebody, but I'm like in their conscious, it's like, and I was like, I need to combine all these things. And that's when I found Aruka and I was like, oh, someone's done, this is it. This is
someone's
the
worked
thing.
it
This
out.
is the thing that I knew I needed, but I could like, so it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
just
there's still
think,
more. Like I'm still working out. I've learned a lot of shit about the brain, which I've been voice noting you about in the last few months alone, that I'm excited to upgrade into the certification in a
yeah,
few months' time. But, that method, there isn't anything as complete. The word I keep using is complete because it's like you tick the box. It's like a completion. It's a process of completion of whatever it is. It's not completing the entire process because there's processes within the process, but it's completing whatever they're coming to you with. It's completing that
yeah,
memory, that component. And this is where people get confused because you complete that and then a new little thing pops up that really didn't feel like a problem, but now it's big and loud because you've got space for it. That's, when people say, how many sessions am I going to need? What's your response to that? Because I know what my response is, but what's your response to somebody that's like, how many sessions am I going to need?
God, it's really hard. Like, it's really hard because I'm like, okay, well, to probably get to this place, like to clear this bit that we know, I can give you like what I imagine, but it's like when we go into that, we don't know what's sitting under there. And it's really hard to say how many sessions. It's really like I can tell you you're going to have a shift after one session. Like I have no doubt in that. But it's like, where are you needing to get to? Where are you at when you come and sit in space with me? Like, what is your goals in terms of how you want to feel? Because it's like people want to look at healing as something that they think they want to complete because we all just want to feel better, right?
Mm.
And same as you, which brings us back to what we were saying at the start. Like this year I was like, I've got there. I'm at that point, that magical point years ago when I was like, I just don't want to feel like this and I want to feel like that. I'm like, I'm her, and that doesn't mean that there's not more things that I'm moving through because I want to continue to expand who I am as a human. But, it's the journey's going to look different for anybody. And I think it's letting go of how many sessions, and it's just a trust with the process and a kind of feeling of yourself. And
And knowing, sorry, but to interrupt you, but you said it perfectly before, actually, and knowing that Aruka therapists are trained with integrity and with a knowing of when to let you go. Like you've recently let a number of clients go and said, hey, we've done a lot of work. You're at this place now where you actually just need to go and live your best life and you need to do all these practices, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to see you for like 6 months because I know you've got this now. You've got the
yeah,
integrity to know when they're at that level. But also it's like what you said with, do you want to just not have flashbacks and massive anxiety or panic attacks? Or do you want to be confident and radiant and stick to your health and fitness goals and manifest more abundance and a beautiful relationship and beautiful friendships? And do you want this life or do you just want to not suffer? Because just to not suffer, it's only a few sessions. Like we can totally make it so that you're not suffering, but there's probably going to be other things that you'll suffer with at some point. And so that's where you get on that journey.
absolutely. And you know what? I think it's important to take breaks in your healing as well, to allow space for integration, to really let the transformation that's happened in this period of, we might have done some intensive work, to let that land. But then you might think, okay, well, now this is coming up. And that's why I have clients that work with me for a long time. It's like, so if I want to work with you on this, we do that. It's like, okay, now this piece is coming. Oh, now I've become a mum. Now this piece is cut, and
Yes.
it's like, and I think the woman that has that desire to feel like the best version of herself, it's like, but there's also it's a tension point, right? Because there is so many things out there that women have been like, I've been doing this fucking thing for X years and I'm sick of it. And I get it.
Yeah.
And I get it. And it's like, okay, if I'm gonna come here, how quickly are you gonna heal me, hun? And it's
Yes.
like,
We
it's
can
like,
work with that too. We can be like, yep,
yeah,
cool, get it. We get it. And I think there's no judgment. We meet them at those. And that's why I teach, you might remember, I teach it in Trigger to Thriving and in the Aruka certification. And I taught it in the last version, is the stages of healing, where you have the realization that change is even possible, because there's plenty of people out there who have no idea that they can even, none of this even exists. So you have the realization and then you enter like the work, and we're in the work phase, but we also are very educated in the end phase, which is the release, which is the spirituality, which is the, now you just got to go out and be a human and live your best life as a human and enjoy and embrace it all. But you also understand, and we teach how to, when and how to dip your toe back in, to go, oh, this
yeah,
thing's really been rearing its head. I'm going to go and have a session and then I'm going to go back to living my best life, not going back into weekly sessions. Like, you learn how to let the work go and how to use it just when you need it. And I think that's
yeah,
a stage that we help, that I teach, and that then Aruka therapists naturally help their clients move into, to understand, okay, you're going to take 3 or 4 months break now, but if you're stuck on something for a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever, and you just can't get past it, or a big life event happens, that's when you come back. That's when the work's there and you give them that roadmap.
Yeah. What, like 100%. And there was something that something just dropped into my mind, but I was really intensely listening to you explain that.
It happens.
And
It
never
happens
mind.
to me too.
It'll come. It'll come.
Yeah, I
It's
think
gonna come
those
back.
those stages are really important for people to understand that the work is a stage. It is forever, but it's also a stage. You've got to go out and live
That's
your
it.
best life, because why otherwise did you do the work?
But that's exactly what I was going to say. And to get to that point, we are as unique as we are. Don't know what the comparison is. We're all individually unique,
As
and
we are
so
the
our
same.
journeys, as we are the same. Yeah, literally, that's the same. And I think for some, like, it took me many years to arrive at that place. It depends what you're working with, but it doesn't mean that it's going to take. I also didn't go in and do aruba therapy, like from day one. So
Big
like I
difference.
worked a lot of it out myself. And so I think that's the thing, we're all unique. So the process to get from here to there is gonna be different in terms of the timelines, in terms of the way things are coded in your body, in terms of where your nervous system's at, in terms of what your unique experiences have been, in terms of the beliefs that you have, in terms of the different layers. Like, I always look at healing as like we're peeling back the onion, like the layers, So it's when someone's like, I get it when someone wants to know how long, but it's like, well, you'll see changes quickly.
You'll
To
see
get to where
changes
you want to
every
get to,
time.
though.
Yes, every
Yeah.
time, and it gets better and better as you go. So it's
Yeah.
not like you're, like, waiting for the end, because each time you feel this whole new lightness, this new version of yourself, you're noticing things. So it's not like you're dying to get to the end of the 6 sessions where you'll be healed. It's like each time you're like, "Oh, okay, I'm going back for more."
Yeah. Yeah. And I do also think there's moments in that process, though, where, it can feel a little bit tricky if new things are
Oh,
coming
yeah.
up and you're like, and then it's like, that's okay. That's part of the process. This was always there. This was always there. This was running your life. You just weren't conscious of it because all this other stuff was more present. And it's like, that's as well the truth that a lot of people don't want to say. Like, we got to just meet what's there and move it through. And it's this knowing on the other side of that. Like, that's where the liberation lives. And that is available. Like, I say that is available for all of us. Jess, do you believe that?
I believe it's available for all of us if we choose it, and I don't think a lot of people
Yeah.
know how to choose it, which kind of then means that it's not available to them, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of, like, someone interviewed me the other day and he was like, he's like, "I don't know how to say this, but, you of anybody would have every right to be a victim." Like, if you were
Yeah.
living from a victim mindset, people would be like, that's kind of fair. Like, she's been through a lot. Like, she has every right to feel like a victim, but you don't. And you have this eternal hope and this optimism and this, like, well, we're not going to let it beat us and push forward. And I just honestly think that I was born like that as well. I just think that that is like my personality. And I think if somebody else who doesn't have that ingrained in them is born into the exact same experiences, I almost feel like it's been pushing shit uphill as it is, with an optimistic, positive attitude for me,
Yeah.
let alone someone who's, like, someone who doesn't have these certain personality traits within them. I think
Yeah.
it's really hard for people. Like, they can't, people can't see a way out, and you can't make them see a way out because they don't see the way out. And so even though from our perspective, we know there is, and we're like, just book a session, like, everything in their mind feels so real to them that says, that's not going to work for you. Why would that work for you? It's going to make it worse, da, 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 all the things. So it's almost like they can't heal until they realize that that's actually just a thought. And so
Yeah.
many people live their lives never realizing that that's a thought. They just think it and believe it,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is sad. That's like
Yeah.
the saddest, because it's such a waste of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I truly believe in living by example and leading by example. And I think my sentence has
100%.
always been, be the example. And some people don't, believe you. Some people don't register it. Some people are angry at you, project onto you, all sorts of things. But there is a percentage of people that go, fuck, if she can do it, I can do it.
I can do it. That was, oh my God. And that was the truest thing. Like in my lowest moments, I was like, and that's why I'm so grateful for social media. I know there's so many nuances with it, but had it not been for social media, I would, I don't even know where I'd be.
Mm.
But it was like, because of that, people being brave enough to share their experience, it makes me emotional. It makes me literally want to cry my eyes out. Being brave enough to share, oh my God, whoa, sorry everyone. It's like hit me right here. Being brave enough to share their experiences and their challenge and their process through, that is the single thing that was like, okay, if she can, literally that, if she can do it, I can do it. There must be a way. There has to be a way, and I'm going to find the way.
And I think that's I got goosebumps. That's my whole thing. Like I've always been like, don't tell me that you can't. I'm going to figure out a way, not just for me, but for everybody else, because I
Yeah.
just can't stand the thought that, and
Oh,
when I got hit with all of my repressed memories, I remember looking up online how to heal from this, looking up other people, like trying to find people on social media that had been through similar trauma that I could look at and go, they're a present mum, they're thriving in business, they
yeah.
are healthy and strong, and they're happy and radiant, and like they're just living this beautiful life, and nothing, it's not affecting them anymore. And I still don't know many. Like it just was hard to find that. And so I was like, fuck it, I'll be that person. And
Yeah.
it's scary because we haven't even gone into the whole being seen thing, because you have to put yourself out there. And a lot of people say to me, you're a liar, you'll see the person's comment from today calling me something, but that's every day. But oh no,
Oh,
oh, we're back.
okay, there you are.
You do it for the
Okay.
people that see it, and that you do it for the people that see it and go, this is, I can do this too. And you give them that bit of hope. And there's just nothing more powerful than hope, I don't think.
Oh,
There's nothing. If you
no.
can give someone a bit of hope, and I think that's what we do in the first session, and that's why I wanted it to be a therapy that was so impactful, that you do feel a shift on the first session, because I think that you need to be able to give them that glimmer of hope that it's going to work for them. And if you're just spending the first session just chatting and getting to know them, that
Chatting.
they're not gonna have that. And so that was a big part of it. Yeah. We don't need to get to know you. We need to show you, and you
Yeah.
show your mind what's possible, to go, hey, this is what's possible. See it, feel it, know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. I gotta
You
go.
gotta go.
Blah, blah,
Run
blah,
late.
chatting all day. Well, I'm going to post the live, and it's already streaming live anyway, but I'm going to post it to the grid, and then you'll see some clips. And so anyone who's looking to book Sophie, there's a link in the bio, but in the clips as well, you'll be linked in all of those. So people will be able to like click you and find you. And yeah, but you can book Sophie through the online clinic if you're wanting to try and experience auric therapy for yourself with Soph. Is there any last words that you want to say?
No, I think we said a lot. Just thanks so much, babe, for having me on this. What's this morning for me, this evening, afternoon for
This
you is
afternoon.
always just I think I always get emotional in our
I
conversations.
know.
It means so much to me, this work. And yeah, to be a part of Aruka, like it really is such a part of my heart. So yeah, I really hope that it's been somebody's taken something inspiring, helpful, activating, useful from this
From
conversation,
this.
or felt seen
Mm.
even.
And you know what I didn't even say, which is like such a beautiful note to finish on, I think, is the full circle moment for me. I'm getting goosebumps on my arms just thinking about it. Is that in my session, in my last couple of sessions with you, you used Aruka therapy, which I created on me to help me remember and believe in Aruka therapy. Like I had my own blocks about realizing how powerful it was. And since you've cleared that for me using Aruka therapy, I'm like I'm receiving it, and I'm getting all these messages, and I'm getting these people all across the world being like, thank you for creating this. And it's like, oh, and this is actually incredible. And I can speak about it now and be like, it's fucking something else. It's incredible. And I couldn't speak about it like that because for so many reasons, we could do a whole freaking episode on that. But I couldn't speak about it like that. And it's so ironic that Aruka therapy is what allowed me to speak about the power of Aruka therapy.
Yeah, it's mental. I know there was like a day and I was like, Jess, I feel like I think it's more powerful for you than you
You
like.
did. You were like, I think I like am more in awe of what it is than what you, and I was like, I just had these blocks of like fully, and it was because it was attached to my identity. Now that it's like
Yeah.
something I'm putting out into the world, it's different, but it was, yeah, it's anyway,
Yeah,
that's
we
a
could
whole
literally
thing.
do a whole we should do a whole
We
conversation because I've
should.
got so many things to say about that too. So when it's
Mm,
your creation, but
yes,
it
we
just makes me want to cry all over again in just yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that was a full circle. We need to do, like we need to look at my notes and we need to do it in live talking about like those layers that you helped me through as well and that come up for so many women. But that can be the next one because I gotta
next
go.
conversation.
I gotta go.
All right,
All
my
right, I'll
love.
end